Okay. Today I'm going to talk about my journey with alcoholism. Um, I've been sober since May 29th, 2009. Um, I started drinking when I was 17 in high school. And when I was 19, I got diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver. That didn't stop me from drinking. I was a very heavy drinker. Drank every day, all day, on the job. I mean, it didn't matter. Driving, it didn't matter. I stayed drunk. And after my first drink, that's when I became addicted. I liked the way that alcohol made me feel. Um, I liked the way that it tasted. Uh, and to me, it became my friend because I was hiding from it was helping me to cope with um, internal pain and the decline of my mental health at the time. I went to Job Corps, still kept drinking while I was at Job Corps. And then I got out, got my own place, um, got married at 21 to an abusive man, and still kept drinking even after being diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver and diabetes. So when I was 24, that's when I became sober, May 29th, 2009. And short, I was having pain in my back that it was so bad that I would literally jolt, my whole body would jolt. And come to find out that it was a kidney stone that was 75% the size of my kidney. Now, this was in May. In June, I started laparoscopy surgery to break up the stone so that I could pass it. And then in that August of 2009, I got very sick. And my ex husband was watching me literally sit there and die. I was turning gray, blue, black, purple, literally. And like from head to toe. So when I went to the hospital, to the ER, and then they transferred me to the ICU, and they told me that I was turning those colors because I was decomposing. And they literally didn't know how I walked into the hospital. And so I remember the doctors telling me, "You're not going to make it through the night. You're going to die tonight. And who do you want us to call?" So I told them to call my dad because he'll tell everyone what's going on. And so I went into a coma, and I talked to God, or really God talked to me. And he told me that if I didn't stop doing the self-destructive behaviors that I was doing, that he would allow um, the demons that were um, torturing me to devour me, and I would no longer exist. And I got really scared, but I had to take responsibility for what was going on with my actions towards myself. I want to back up. That February, what inspired me to get sober was that February, um, I literally planned out my suicide. And about an hour before I was going to do it, I got a phone call where I was told that there were people that loved me, a lot of people that loved me. And I started feeling empathy, and I didn't want to hurt anybody that loved me. So I decided not to do it. Um, in between February and May, I went to a marriage counselor, asked my ex-husband to go to the marriage counselor with me. He went once and stormed out, you know, refusing to go back. But when I had the one-on-one session, he asked me if I drink, and I told him, yeah, every day, all day, and still functioning, so nobody outside of me saw it as a problem. He told me it was a major problem and that I was going to ruin my marriage if I kept on drinking, and that inspired me to stop. So anyway, that August of 2009, when I became very sick and on my deathbed, I don't know how long I was in a coma, but when I woke up, I was very depressed and I was in a lot of pain. Um, and I had this CNA that came to me and told me, you know, God told me that it's not your time to go. It's not time for you to die. And she said, we're going to get out of this bed and start walking. And so when she got me out of bed, it only took, I can't remember, I think about a week for me to get strong enough. And it was amazing because literally to go from my body dying to enduring the pain of my muscles being so atrophied that I literally lost like 30 pounds while I was in a coma. So building that muscle back up to be able to walk was very, very painful. And so eventually I ended up walking down the hallway to the nurse's station, and everybody clapped and celebrated, and it felt so good to have people in my life at that time that actually celebrated my accomplishment of getting up and walking again. And the doctor told me that he was a doctor for 24 years and he had never seen anything like this, where someone so close to death came out with regular functioning organs. So I knew that God gave me a second chance for some reason. I didn't know why, but he gave me a second chance. And the doctors literally called me a miracle. And I know that still to this day, that it was a miracle. When I got home, the first thing I wanted to do was to find alcohol to celebrate. And I was in outpatient rehab at the time. I told the counselor what I was doing, and he said, you need to go to inpatient. You need more structure to learn how to live without alcohol. So I went to rehab, a 6-week program. Even though I was sober since May 29th, that October I had to go into a structured environment. And it really did help. It helped me. It helped me a lot to learn how to actually live without the alcohol. And so when I got into my deathbed, it became less about my marriage. I was inspired to actually live after my conversation with God. I did not want to die spiritually. I did not want to be devoured by demons. I didn't want for my life to continue on to self-destruction into where I would die young. So I basically chose life over death. My soul was in so much pain, and my only way out that I saw was to either immediately kill myself or to slowly do it. And then when I got on my deathbed, I was like, God, I'm just playing. I really don't want to die. I really don't want to die. And so God gave me a second chance. And I've been sober since May 29th, 2009. And I tell you, after all of the things that I've been through since I've been sober, I would not change going through that sober. I wouldn't change that for a day, where I can actually live a sober life. I would not trade that for a day of drinking. And I do still deal with hard times, but the fact that I can learn from them, the fact that I can live, the fact that I can make better decisions for myself, the fact that I can actually hear myself and God inspire me to go into a different direction. I was definitely experiencing a spiritual death that I didn't want to go through. I wasn't learning anything. I was stagnant. I was very, very depressed, and just wanted to die. And the one thing that I learned was that I was not growing spiritually. And that's always been very important to me, was to improve myself spiritually with God's help. And that wasn't happening for me while I was under the influence of alcohol. So that's my journey. And like I said, I am grateful to deal with my sobriety, to have my sobriety, to make better choices with my life, to actually see God's discernment working for me. And everything that has happened has turned out to be for my own good. Good or bad, ugly, no matter what the situation was, it actually helped me. And I just want to inspire anybody that's out there that is dealing with whatever thing in their life that's actually holding them back from growing spiritually. Any addiction, any mental health problems, you definitely can make it. If you want to make it, you definitely can. Everybody has the opportunity to make it, to actually be who they are, and to actually feel joy, feel happiness, feel the sadness, feel the pain, and know that it's not going to last forever, that change will come eventually. And it's something that is part of the human experience. So I hope that this story actually inspired you, actually let you know that there is hope. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And as you climb that mountain, you really do grow. You really do get your life back. You really do have the opportunity to be who you are and to not try to self-destruct. You learn so much. You become who you really are and who you're supposed to be. So, all right, guys, that's my journey. That's my story. I am a recovering alcoholic since May 29th, 2009. And I'm very, very happy about that. So, please take this story, Let it inspire you. Let it give you hope. And let it actually help you to be who you are. Because you're worth it. You are definitely worth it. So, thank you guys for listening. And I'll catch you next time.